Certainly some varying opinions on the desk with some back and forth really side of things in terms of how they think the maps are going to go, how they think overall players are going to perform. But one thing for certain, Jay, is this map is going to get going. Cash, of course, is going to be the first. And this pissed around is already taking place. Impossible gathering up their forces, setting them in motion over towards their main. Is Bpro, they've opted for a retake A setup this time around, leaving the A site wide open, ripe for the picking. Terrorists.
Yeah, Impossible going to execute very quickly on towards the side. A bit of an awkward smoke to try and cross off MBK corner, but Bpro have given this one up very, very quickly in towards, short and in towards the truck CT retake. One coming around the back to try to set up the backs there. Bpro giving up this site very, very quickly, going to try for that retake. They've got a defuse kit, but it's going to go down pretty quickly. And now it's just the T side taking themselves the 4 versus 3 advantage. But Ships and Blocker come through with 2 nice picks. It's now to the man advantage of Bpro. Now the 2-man advantage and no one left for the Impossible side. Bpro, a bit of an awkward round to start things off, but got their feet back with the retake, and I think that's kind of how they were playing there. Sadly, the diffuse kit went down, so it wasn't as quick or as clean as you would have liked to expect. But either way, Ships and Blocker do clean things up. 2 kills for either player, and they will have themselves a Bpro pistol round.
As you say, they had to get a bit down and dirty for it, but sometimes kind of applying that test, that pressure in a pistol round is pretty good for the CT side. It's a bit of a slap in the face. It's a wake-up call immediately that, okay, you had a game plan, you've got away with it by the skin of your teeth, but you need to improve if you genuinely want to be able to start rolling in these rounds. For Bpro, I think it actually is going to be pretty beneficial to how the round did play out for them, because bear in mind, at the end of the day, they were still the victors. Now, Ships, all he's got to do is just be that longer range rifle to try and take some smart engagements there, but I was a little bit worried that he'd be traded out, but he's just so damn good that he's tapping heads left, right, and center, gets the quadra kill within the UMP of Leffy, and then just punished the final player required over on towards A main. Bpro an easy second round on a swift follow-up.
Yeah, Impossible got the bomb plant and the pistol round, so they were aiming for this 3rd round rifle buy, of course. That last round was just a basic standards, you know, as we usually see with the Ecos. Bpro taking their standard conversion. Now this is where Impossible look to shut the whole show down. Limited utility, but there are 5 smokes available, so there is execution possibilities for the Impossible side. And they will try to play a little bit more passively than they did before when they rushed on through. Didn't work out too well, so they know that Bpro can hold their own defensive line. The question is, how are they going to be able to break it? I guess that's a good start. A good headshot through the smoke, taking down blockers. Yeah, turn off your wall bangs. It's a 5-on-4 situation already for the Impossible side. Is now 1 player holding up Squeaky. Several players kind of a little bit convinced that they want to go towards the A site, but the bomb's not committed anyway just yet.
A crucial part of this round being played out is just exactly how this B main default is going to be constructed by this T side. When you get a big pick like that in mid, you have to be so careful, because just because you've got the man advantage doesn't mean you just by default win the round on the T side. It all comes down to, can you play a smart default? Can you make sure you manage your manpower correctly, effectively? And people having a basic understanding of how to play out these rounds as individuals as well. So it's an interesting test for a T side to try and work with. We knew from the get-go as well that they certainly wanted to hit towards A. You called it out right away, and you're 100% correct. They are just going to try and walk them out. The risk is the extreme lack of utility. That cross-smoke comes out way too late. Flash is peeking so wide, so early, that it is going to be a bit of punishment that does come in. Savat, though, does find a trade in towards highway, which certainly is going to help. Poison gets into high gear, but his UMP does good just another trade, but too little too late. Akamov still doing so much work on this site, ensuring it does go the full distance. A 3 versus 1. Poison. Too much he can do now. No teammates to back him up. No teammates to trade away. It's all on him. What? 3 low HP players to find. A Molotov in his back pocket. Careful to have. Finds the first, looking for the swift second. Now playing around forklift, does get away with it. Now looking for just the final pick required. Has the Molotov, looking to decide, do I want to throw it in A main? How do I want to do this? Goes to the frag and gets away with it. Time. That is going to be really where the cookie crumbles.
4K for Poison. That's just probably the worst part about this whole situation. Managing to take down pretty much the entire Impossible lineup and still not managing to get the defuse. It was a little bit too late, and you saw him. He really wanted to go for that retake when he was coming up towards middle. He was desperately looking for that first pick for the gap and the smoke, and he did find it, and he followed it up with 3 more, but it's just a little bit too slow to the mark. Impossible. Bit of a misplay is going to cost them some economy, but economy is all it's going to cost them. They will have their first round on the board. 2 UMPs will be out as the buyback is available for this T side. And the buyback, of course, from Bpro as well. Only the, I believe there's AWP saved from the last round. Excuse me. But both teams on reset potential here. If Impossible take this, they could be in with a lead here on this T side, and well, they start things off fantastic. They Psycho's down to 1 HP immediately as the first challenge out towards middle doesn't even go towards his favor. He's going to have to back off and play more passive. Meanwhile, Blockers on this boost spot. We've seen this come out before, and he will be able to tag down Svat to 22 HP, but isn't able to take that kill once again. The aggressive angles from Bpro. Working out in sort of like trading. They so find some angels that work out to their favor and other ones that really leave their players on a bit of a tagged up situation. Refer back to Psycho, of course. 5 on 5 still, 50 seconds to go on the clock. The early part of the round won't be leaving us with any particular man advantage, but 2 players tagged up on execution and coming towards the A site. Impossible. We'll see if they can try and make the strategy work once again.
The little utilities execute out towards A, though, that their aim really is going to be stretched so much right now. And if you do look back to some of the duels they've taken, it's not been all that strong. They've been doing so much damage, but not actually been able to follow through with the frag. Ships, all he's going to do here is play around quad, and he pretty much just does sweet work with them. And that's going to be the case. Literally just peeks around left, right, and center. Lefty just going to play with him to make life a little bit easier. Blocker supported with a headshot on towards Akamo, I believe it was, and it just pretty much just make mincemeat there. It's really so easy for them to find those headshots. And it's unfortunate for Impossible as well because of how much damage was done in that 1 versus 3 kind of clutch style around. Because now they're literally just resorting to these Tech 9s and cover. Bpro can take this 3-1. You just have to really look at an impactful CT side already beginning to stack up those rounds.
Yeah, this was reset potential for Impossible, so the have themselves a force buy on the cards, Tech 9s, Kevlar helmets, 1 smoke, probably to smoke off that A-site cross, and they're going to go for this A-site once again. They haven't hit B-site once this match so far, and as a result, the CTs know exactly how to play this one. Ships, 3k so far, almost a 4k to take 1 more peek, 1 more spray, and he will find his Fat, meanwhile coming onto Blocker, but Ships is poised perfectly for the ace. He will find it nicely, 2 HP left on him, and he will clean up the entire Impossible force by 4-1 favor of Bpro. Impossible, I mean, you can talk about how that round was like their sort of like last gasp if they're trying to bring something back in terms of their economy in these opening few rounds, but you know, the likelihood of them being able to win that round with pistols up against AKs, AWP, like Bpro saved 3 AK-47s into that round from the last one, you know, like it was very unlikely for them to be able to win it even with the head armor, so this is going to be standardized eco once again doing the rounds for the Bpro side. Blocker starting things off nicely, just Glocks to be working with for the Impossible lineup. Shouldn't be anything more. This should just be easy pickings for the rest of Ships and his team. And there it is. Rush on through. Spray downs. 3k for Ships. 5-1 in favour of Bpro.
It's literally just Bpro, or not even Bpro, Ships just farming frags at this point. Like, he's just lapping it up like, alright, yeah, just keep coming A. Just keep pushing him in like this. You just walk through a smoke. It's great. Like, I'm loving it. I get 3Ks every single round. Like, my KD's looking glorious. Like, my team love me. Everyone loves me. It's great. Like, just keep doing that. Look, at the time of his life. Possible kind of, I think they need to change things up a little bit with those rushes just to not allow him to get too confident as an individual. They are going to finally swap. Not even that. They're just going to walk into a 3-man kind of peak coming in towards the B side, which is a little bit of smarts coming from Bpro. They're running the idea of, right, if Impossible are going to all in the site, it's more likely going to be B this round just because of the confluence in A. So let's just triple peek it, get that pick nice and early in that default where they will face it for that little bit of aggression. Force that frag, and they try and respond out on A, and you've got to play like Ships who's just landing these blow after blow. Works out pretty comfortably. 1 versus 3, 6 HP from Sublo. Don't really count your chickens here, do you? Does get the first, leaving it into a 1 versus 2, but no flash for that second repeak. It means it is now just going to be an angle to be held, smoke to be blocked, and the USP to tap away.
Impossible getting torn apart in these rounds. Like, these guys have really had not much of an opportunity to sharp against the Bpro side, because Bpro seem to win out a lot of the man advantages when it comes down to these rounds. You know, 6-1 so far. Some of those have been eco rounds, of course, but in that last round, you know, when they tried to get themselves into contention with the AKs, they gave them 1v3s, which Bpro, of course, could have won, like the triple peek out towards B side, like you said, but you know, for Impossible, they're trying to play this pick style play by sending 1 player out towards aggressive angles, and then they lose those picks, and Bpro are able to take the advantage and run up 6-1 here on this CT side. Like, this is a great start for Bpro, considering when, you know, everyone's kind of thinking that Impossible will be the more likely team to win this one. You know, I kind of have to give them credit where it's due. You know, they're really showing us up in this case. You know, I was predicting Impossible to take this map and take the series 2-1, but you know, for Bpro, And this is a great start for them to really put a spanner in the works, because I thought this would have been probably Impossible's style of map. 6-1, however, is our scoreline. Bpro on the CT side. We have got a quick technical pause because of a mic issue on the Bpro side. So once that gets resolved, we should be back into this one very, very quickly. And Impossible will have themselves, well, a bit of a quasi to be working with on their side.
I think the thing is, though, you have to kind of look at it realistically and go, all right, Impossible, they're a good team, sure. They've got very exceptional players on their lineup. But when they're defaulting out of cash right now, Bpro seem to know every little thing they're going to do, every little tweak in their play, how to adapt to that and be one step ahead of them. How to deal with their defaults on that CT side is so crucial. I mean, we saw just the idea of putting 3B, just get that aggressive early B pick. That was just such a big, prominent thing. Summed up how things have gone for Impossible. And I think you've really got to reflect on that. Why this half is 6-1. And less so about the idea that Bro just playing really smart, or Impossible, more importantly, are playing badly. Because they're not playing badly. It's the style of play they're currently bringing, where they're very, very default heavy, then they're trying to go for these light executes out towards sites. It's almost quite black and white CS. It's very readable. Which means another thing is the fact that Bpro right now, they're going to be having a field day. Like, literally, all you're going to hear is very coherent comms. It's going to be very decisive. Their IGL is literally just going to be screaming, going, all right, this and this is what they're going to do. Because when you play this very straight, this very standard CS, which Impossible are currently bringing, it is a little bit predictable. That's kind of something we've seen, again, linking back to that aggression in B. It was read like a book. You send 3 there, you peek out, you get that early pick, and then within seconds, already they're rotating back into their 2-1-2. So I actually think the transition into 2-2-1 after that to make sure they had a very prominent mid-hold. And it's just basically Bpro doing more of the same, with Ships then kind of just being that hard anchor on the A site, getting plenty of frags. We've seen him do it over and over again now. Demos have literally just been him farming up those frags in the main push.
Yeah, Impossible really need to change up their playbook here. Like you said, it's very predictable. It's very standard. So
they just have to be willing to play with speed more. Right now,
yeah.
they're playing at one tempo. They have to be able to. And I think this is a thing that a lot of teams, especially a lot of teams at varying different skill levels in these sort of matchups, have. It's just the idea where they don't really have the confidence to try and control the tempo of the matchup. They don't know when to take it fast, when to take it slow. And if they can figure that out right now, then that's their way back into the game, I think. Because, sure, you could argue they could just start playing smarter, they could just start out-aiming their opposition, but when you're at a 6-1 scoreline, the momentum is already so far swung in favor of Bpro that you can already start talking about this half being a write-off at that pace. The next round really much is going to be the big decider on do Impossible actually make anything of this half. So I think for Impossible right now, what they have to do is just utilize this pause as a gift to them from Bpro. Because bear in mind, Bpro called this for their own tech issue. That doesn't Impossible, they can still sit here and have a chat and work things out. They've got to make sure they use this, come up with a few different ideas of what to run, things that are both quick, things that are both slow, things that start off nice and slow in a default, where they try and their absolute darndest to not get picked off at the start of the round, that transition into an execute, or just the generic site taking itself. Something like that, where they really just try and change. Whether it works or not, it's a different question in entirety, but if you don't try, you get anything back.
Yeah, I want to see Impossible try to hit up this B site more as well, because that's something that's really not been working out for them that much on this the A site aggression. They got one round when they pushed on through with the first rifle round, and they managed to get a bomb plant and secure things out for Bpro. But even then, the last Bpro player got himself a 4K and wasn't able to defuse the bomb in that round. So, Impossible aren't really winning these rounds by margins either. They've got one round under their belt, which is a little bit shaky, and I'd like to see them, like you say, change things up a bit. Try and take the pacing over towards the B site instead, because when you can lock out that B site, when you can set up a retake for the CT side, the CT side retake on B site is not that easy to do, especially if you got yourself a man advantage, or if you got yourself some awkward positioning for the CT side. You can very easily shut them down if you can get yourself easy access to that site. So for Impossible, there's a lot of options to be working with that they still haven't tried out, even when you're talking about the standardized style of Counter-Strike that we usually see in pug matches or in scrims. For Impossible, excuse me, for Impossible, there is, like, you know, a whole world of options available for them here on Cash, a whole world they still haven't explored yet, and that's not even getting into the nitty-gritty specifics about pacing and about advanced levels of play. You know, there's still got a lot of options to work with, and you know, as they're discussing this, you know, as we're paused here, I'm pretty sure that it's running through their minds, you know, like where they're going to go, how they're going to do this, and, you know, probably some of the ideas we brought up here in this little pause here might be what Impossible are currently trying to think about and figure out here.
I'd like to think that. You know, it's always good to think of, you know, maybe we're saying something relevant, who knows. But, I mean, just to kind of lead on your point of whether they should hit B or not, one thing about B site cash as a terrorist is when you're hitting B, you're thinking to yourself, all right, what's the most valuable part of the map to help me in taking B right now? And it's actually mid, because of Vents. Vents is such an incredible angle for getting control of checkers quickly. Sure, there are many quirky things you can do where you can kind of smoke off that B main entrance, do a reverse vent take, and all these different things. They do work out in this very kind of one-off style of rounds, but in terms of general B takes, the ability for you to get onto the site and consistently be able to do work on that site, you kind of do want some level of mid control, even whether it is just basic, you throw cross smokes that mid, or the wall of smoke, however you want to put it, the smoke that lands in between mid garage left and right. Then you can Molotov off vent, wait for the pick B main, then after that Molotov eventually burns away, or fizzles away, however you want to phrase it, then you push through mid, you flash yourself through over on towards white box as well, you take mid control, get in towards vent, drop down in towards B, and there's your B split. You have the Molotovs then rain in, it's a fully fledged B execute. Perhaps it's something that they couldn't on the desk show in on a inside the play segment or something, but it's a very powerful execute, but it does bank on the idea of you be able to crack mid open. It's all part of, you know, getting part of that inner layer of the shell. So it's a struggle for Impossible, that's what it comes down to. You can see we're currently clumped up outside of B, through at the glass. Pivotal thing that has to be broken if you are going to go for an execute through that window. It does give a sound cue away, and this is another thing that will really get tested is when they break that glass, the Bpro clock on that straight away it's going to be something towards B. Have Impossible been creating presence over on towards that site enough to warrant Bpro not just instinctively going, okay, it's going to be a B hit?
Well, here it comes. I have lost that first pick, but in towards checkers, in towards main, and while Psycho's got the perfect angle to try and shut this first one down, takes down Akimov, and now the rotations are coming in thick and fast. Quick trade back to a 3-on-4, but the bomb's gone down. They have a rifle in their hands, and the grenade not going to be able to shut down in some. We'll get that bomb plant. I think that's what Impossible were really looking for in this case. You know, this round was an eco round for them. Just the Tech 9, just the P250, and just the M4 to be working with. They will trade it back to a 3-on-3 at least. They are doing some decent damage to the CT side, but not enough to really hurt the rebuy as we enter into round number 9. Bpro will take a 7-1 scoreline. Ace, or well, team ace for the CT side, shutting down the Impossible side. But this round is where it's going to get a little bit interesting. I feel like there was a little bit of investment into that round that kind of went to naught. But I don't think Impossible were really looking at the investment side of things. They weren't full buying, they weren't exhausting their pockets. They were looking for their way into this next round with an extra boost in economy, plus the full max loss bonus. AWP, 4 AKs in play, double flash sets on every member of the Impossible side. And now they will play for pick style play once again here. Except this time they have got a little bit more presence over towards the B side. Akimov looking for that first pick, hoping that Bpro would go aggressive, but they're not biting. Instead, they will go aggressive out towards this boost spot, and Blocker may get taken down so quickly here.
It's nice though, because it comes down to that B aggression, right? They're thinking, all right, they just smoked deep B, they just flash deep B as well, which means we have to take back some map control. So they do go with a boost to get a pick off the back of that, which sure isn't all that great in the end for Impossible, but hey, the reasoning of it was nice. They just didn't quite execute the hold in mid as we'd like to see. Hey, we wanted to see that frag basically denied and turned on its head for Bpro, but yeah, no, I think the idea behind getting that B main presence was nice for Impossible. Now on this default though, still in a 4v5, they've got to reformalize something. They've got to try and make a play somewhere in the map. Whether it's have Kraken make control, walk out on towards B. But it all seems to be falling apart, doesn't it? Let's not fool ourselves right now. We try and kid away, but Bpro are just walking all over Impossible on their CT side. They had all the momentum. The traction has never once slipped for this Impossible lineup. Like we were all but done here. Joven, last man standing in a 1v4, gets tagged away by Lefty and eventually quickly punished by the M401S that does just break away into his head with an 8-1 scoreline. A situation that Impossible surely are going to struggle to come back from.
And this is definitely not what Impossible were hoping for in this rifle round, you know. They had everything going for them, but like you said, you know, they just found absolutely nothing in that round. Only one pick came in towards the end, and that was about it. A 4 versus 1 situation is not how you want to be playing out these T-sides, and they will go for a more faster play, a bit more of a quicker paced round here. Trying to shake things up against the Bpro side, and so far it will work out to their favour. They have the man advantage. They're on towards the B side. Fat's going to get another one, but there's Psycho turning back onto Yovan. Akimov there with a quick trade. It's a 2 versus 4, but Blocker's still up towards Heaven area. Will take himself 2, almost a third, but Fat comes on through now. It's just the AWP from Poison, watching out for the cross the moment Akimov peeks. There's going to be one pick that he's going to be able to spot out. He knows the bomb's going to go down, and Fat's going to be watching out the cross. Does spot him out, does take an AWP, and does take a second round, just about for the Impossible side.
Only just though. Very, very, very close stuff for Bpro, and one perk they really got going for them. I think this is probably pretty self-explanatory to all of our viewers out there, and they think themselves, well, why are you mentioning this? But hey ho, I'm just going to be very clear about it. Bpro, they have a hell of a lot of money right now. They are happy as anything, so for them to fight for this reset, it's okay. And all they're going to do is go straight away aggressive. The smoke's going to go into back of A main. Ship's just going to play off that, and then ST will go. Can he find his flock though? Can he start off nice and strong and get the picks? Well, your answer is no. Plaz instinctively goes to the AWP shot behind the boxes, finds himself the pick. Akimov as well, gonna find himself a headshot run towards his B site, taking down Poison, doing a little bit more follow-up damage, meaning that in just a sheer 30 seconds or so, we've seen 3 picks and a 5 versus 2 for Impossible to try and play with.
This is a great start once again, you know, a massive advantage, a huge advantage with no picks going back to, well, no trades going back to the favour of the Bpro side. So now Psycho and Leffy are in a bit of an awkward spot here as Psycho goes down. Now it's just Leffy, and this time we're seeing equal domination coming out from the T side this time. Bpro are trying to let this round go, and in fact, they're going to let it go a little bit further. Not a single player dies on the Impossible side here. 8-3. Going to start things off, or start off this round streak with a bit of a vengeance against the Bpro side, and Bpro will of course be buying back into this one. They have got the economy for it, but next round might be a bit of a question about whether or not it will work. In this case, AWP 4M4's out for them. Blocker will start things off, tagging down Yovan the 24 HP. But Impossible once again, this quick play on towards the B site. It's been so strong, and Bpro haven't yet found a way to counter it. So now they're going to execute. They're going to try and make it work. But Blocker comes in, takes down one, drops the bomb twice in this case. And now swings the man advantage back to the Bpro side. A triple kill, looking for his quadrant. He might be able to find it onto Yovan. Runs out of ammo on 2 HP. Manages to get the USP out and takes him down. 4K for Blocker. Ships comes through as the grenade takes him down. But Blazino with a quick peek is going to take him out of the action, all onto him in a 1 versus 2 situation. Psycho's got the angle locked out, but this is resting on the knife's edge. This is still definitely doable for the lone remaining T-side player, and still a minute on the clock. This round went to hell so quickly, but it's gone to the favour of Bpro regardless.
50 seconds for Plaz to try and pry these two players aside from each other. Playing in towards Checkers, peeking out in towards B main, just being extra precautious right now, that any angle he uses could be violated to turn it right back at him. But what does he really have to do here? With 40 seconds left, you could argue it's a smart play to save. Can he genuinely find that 1 versus 1, get hold of the bomb, and find a plant? There is just the amount of time left. Well, the answer, well, part 1, success. Part 2, not so much. Leffy does get the trade playing from Heaven with a nice little friendly peek out, just a way to quickly say, hey, I'm still here, but at the same time, not really risking too much, as it was pretty unlikely that that flick was to be found from Heaven there. Unfortunate situations, but it is what it is.
I got to give credit to Blocker towards the end of that round. He managed to pretty much shut down the entire offensive, and if he was in position where he was for the Bpro side, then this would have been an impossible round for them. So now they will lie back once again, going for another bit of a quick play, except more of a split play this time. But once again, it gets cleaned up. Now the CTs are really gone to exactly what Impossible are doing, and trying this 3 times in a row. Sure, it might work for you once or twice, but it's not going to work out every single time. Now Bpro have counted it. 3 players on a B site shut down the whole show. Poison with 2 kills, Psycho with 1, Svat and Yovan, last 2 alive, 2 versus 5, now 1 versus 5. As Bpro just know exactly where to look here. And the Impossible lineup just fall to pieces once again. Yovan tapping away, will take down Ships, looking for his second out towards the vent area, but they know he's up at vent. They know exactly where his positioning is, so now they will just close the pincers and look for that final frag to bring Bpro to double digits, 10-3 is our CT scoreline.
You know, ask a question of how are Impossible feeling right now? You know, thinking ahead at second maps, potential third maps, all these different factors. Are Impossible losing because Ash is a map they are struggling on? Or is it just because of the bigger picture that Bpro have the ability just to out-aim them? It's hard to tell at certain times because, you know, we don't want to look too far ahead in this series just yet. But Cash is going to be a very eye-opening performance because I look back to what the analysts said and the predictions that were made, and I feel like Impossible should just be doing a whole lot more considering the support they were given.
Yeah, we were saying, you know, on the analyst desk, they were saying, you know, it's probably going to end up being an impossible series, but for them, you know, this isn't an impossible map. I mean, this is definitely not what we were expecting. This is Bpro's pick, we should add, you know, just for a bit of context, you know. We were expecting them to have this one at a very close scoreline, but, you know, I'm with the analyst. I assume that it would have been an impossible victory. Bpro, however, are just shutting them down at every single chance they have. And when the Impossible seem to get going, you know, Bpro, they instantly flick on their analysis switches. Okay, what are they doing that we're messing up, and how can we counter it? And as a result, when Impossible found their way in towards that play on the B site, Bpro just came back and shut the whole thing down. And now we're in a situation where Impossible might just have the pistol buffer to work with when we go into CT. AK's out for these guys. Full blind back into this round. Main aggression is taken. Akimov's still playing lurk over towards the B site. Blocker's not going to give him up. He's got a bit of aggression, but meanwhile, Psycho is going to take himself liberties in towards the vent area, taking down Svat. Akimov looking for that pick on the B site. Meanwhile, just trying to see if he can take back a trade here. Yovan will be the one that actually takes the challenge of Poison. Oh, yeah, Poison's going to be able to get Akimov. 3-on-4 situation. Still favours the CTs. Bomb's not committed to a site, but Yovan has got himself deep in towards A. Does have to worry about Ships and Squeaky, and two more coming in from Truck. So for a minute to go though. Bpro are in control. Impossible definitely trying to see if they can turn the tide. Trades back once again for Bpro. And Som and Plazino, last two alive for the T side.
Not a fan right now of what Impossible trying to do. They're very much going for these one-by-one pushes, like pushing in drips and drabs almost, and make it very, very easy for a CT side just to peek out and play the trading game with you. I mean, this round is a good example of it. They're trying to work out, okay, how do we play 2 versus 3? What do we push here? Well, the answer probably isn't to be throwing smoke from the back of A for yourself while your teammate solo pushes mid. It's probably better just to try and play it together. You'd be a team. Just sure, you could then both still die to the same angle or whatever it may be. Playing it to better is still a much better crack, and it's not even a good necessarily example for how this half went in terms of that last immediate round, but it's the whole half as the whole story, the big picture. Possible didn't really have the team play or the individual aim to back anything up. 3 rounds, 3 very lackluster rounds. The analysts said they'd be performing well. Right now, I'm seeing a complete set of turntables. Impossible are looking bottom tier.
Yeah, Bpro definitely showing up in this case, but you know, Cash is CT sided. Maybe Impossible might be able to find bring in their step for this half. The fuse kit out for Yovan, smoke as well for him. We'll see where he wants to play. It looks like out towards the B site as the predicted B site hit from the Bpro side. Bpro, it's down to Glocks, no raid boss in particular. The smoke and Molotov on Poison. What they play with on a B site, a middle area in towards A site. Hit is exactly what Bpro are going to be doing. Straight in with the mid control. First pick on the Blazino. He's gone down. And Bpro, well, they're all over the place here. They're getting total amounts of map control and Impossible. They don't even know whether they should rotate, whether they should hold down the standard angles, whether they should try and go for a bit more of a defensive on the B site. Indeed, it will be the B site hit that comes through. Blockers charging onto Insom. Insom's doing some serious damage, and Ships is coming in the back. In fact, he may be able to catch off all the CTs, takes 1 headshot, spots out 2 more, but there's one shot comes back from Yovan. Blocker's going to get Insom, and now it's a 4-on-2 situation. It favors the T side, and Svat and Yovan are in a very awkward spot, coming in from 2 different angles. A B site retake, very undoable for them, but it will still be training back to a 1 versus 2. Svat, last man alive, they know where he is. Poison's watching in towards Checkers, but Svat is going to play Ring of Rose. He's looking the wrong way, so Poison's going to be able to get himself a headshot in the round. 13-3, Bpro clean up the pistol, get themselves a supreme advantage against the Impossible side.
The potential map-ending advantage right now at 13-3. They're going to look to use that as a pretty easy segue into closing down that first map, really. Got plenty of rifles. Utility, sure, a little bit more non-existent, but Hey ho, they're up against a side right now who literally are chilling with P250s and 5.7s. All they gotta do is walk out a side together as a 5 and they should be able to close out this round. Confidence on them really showing as well by just the way they slowly burn up towards mid, taking a highway little bit by little bit, just passive aggression. Looking like they still want to try and prod towards B though. Got to be cautious to at least kind of realize that this is a stack and that's something they might not want to push towards. But then at the same time, they're going to be smart about it. They molly it off, they force the peaks to come out. They get rewards off the back of
Well, the CT side doing at least decent work to trade back 3 versus 3, but they've been locked out of the B side. They've only got Casino on here, which Ship's going to be able to spot out easily just one of the pixels, and Leffy's going to be able to get Svat as well. So now all on some. Last man alive, 1 versus 3. UMP in his hand. Kevlar helmet. Not really a very doable retake for him. But he is moving up towards the vents area, looking to try to get some sort of angle on him. No defuse kit as well, so he's going a little bit slow to make this retake work. I don't think he has enough time. I think he's just looking for the exit phase. He's looking to see if he can prompt Bpro into moving out towards the T-spawn, see if he can get himself some extra money, maybe take a rifle out of the hands, and Leffy might be the man that gives it to him. Indeed, he will. 1 kill goes to his favour. Block is coming around the corner. We'll take him down, so damage done to the Bpro side, as well as a little bit of economical building for Insom. 2k for him with that pistol as well. We'll leave him a little bit extra money for this next round, but nothing is going to invest into, or Pazino will actually force buy, so maybe Impossible might be going for, well, 16-14 or bust here, or maybe they might be playing for overtime. Pazino has actually forced bought. I'm not sure if that was a misbuy or not, but either way, it's going to be a much better setup for the Bpro side, and Impossible as a result should just be falling like flies here. Svat goes down, all pistols now. Deagle's P250s, UMPs, and USP as well. But it's already a 3-on-5. Bpro, better weapons. This is always going to be their advantage, and the one taps also do ring on through. Leffy gets 1. And now 2 members there remain alive for the CT defensive. It's just not going to happen today, as Bpro will claim themselves map point on map 1 of our best of 3 series.
Group C winners match, of course. It was the pick that is an exciting one. One to follow, one to really get yourself locked onto as it unfolded. And folks, all I have to say there is, I apologize on one side of the coin that Impossible just don't seem to be able to put up much of a fight in this first map, but at the same time, I kind of rock the flip side and go, you know what? We got to give some serious props to Bpro. They came prepared on their map pick, did their job. Akimov in the one final stand does get a nice little flick through the smoke though, to at least try and punish them and stretch out this game. It was very, very aggressive, nice and confident, perhaps a little overconfident, but at the same time, I think they need it at this point, as Sivat is going to find just another mid, begin to really slow down this Bpro side.
Doom is alive for the Bpro side. They're still going to get themselves middle aggression and presence in towards the A site, but Chips are going to take down 1. AWP on the backstab. Akimov will take him back out of the action, so now just down to this A kit, which for Bpro is just not going to be going well at all. Both Psycho and Poison get picked off by Pazino and Insom. So Impossible are way back into this matchup, at least for now. They still have a lot more rounds to win, 12 overall to take it to overtime, so Bpro have got a lot of space to work with. Impossible cannot falter once for the next, well, 10 rounds at this point here. 15-4. Bpro now playing a little bit more passively in towards the garage area, expecting Impossible to go aggressive, but not going to take as much map control as you would think. There is one player playing close towards the boxes and B-halls. Zerko might catch that one off guard, but Bpro once again opting for this mid-aggression. Something that's worked out well for them on this T side. They're going to put it into effect again. Psycho, first man in. Yovan will take him right out of the action. And now it's going to be the B side here. The no-scope wallbanger from Akimov. What was that? Second peak will be able to take one back to a 2-on-5 situation. And just like that, Bpro have all lost control of this round. All on ships. A 1 versus 3 situation. AK in his hands up against 2 M4s and a UMP. This bomb plant looking very undoable for him. Very impossible for him. So he actually might try for the A site instead. If Insom doesn't land this spray, there is a chance for him. But no, Insom will take him down. There'll be 3 players staying alive for the Impossible side at 15-5.
Just when we think the game is over, Impossible begin to whip out their magic stick and start to lay down the work. There's going to be a few AWPs here and there, a few big rifle plays. Start to at least connect something together in for Impossible. And I'm going to phrase it as something for now because I do think they're making something out of nothing. It's only been just a few tiny little rounds where it has been very crystalline mistakes coming from the Bpro lineup. Longevity, that's going to be the real, actual, effective test right now. If they can survive a constant barrage of the Bpro lineup, then we can start to be a little bit pleased, a little bit interested in terms of how this comeback could go. But now, the C side, they walk out on this B site, or the A side, should we say. They get themselves a few taps here and there. They're going to go for a bomb plant relatively soon, as Poison is going to just cover off his teammate as he does go for a nice and open plant. Problem is, it's Jovan in a 1v2. Wasn't a 1v3, but did find the pick in towards mid to help him out. But this was kind of the risk, and this is why we never really found ourselves too invested into this storyline that is impossible, because it was just one mistake. One site to be exploited by the Bpro lineup. That seems to be the case right now, as they are going to wait for the push. They will find it. 16-5 will be the scoreline. All that's left to discuss right now is analysts. How on earth are you going to break this one down?